Rise up, sunrise on the motherland. Young hearts moving, power in their hands. Drums from Kigali waking up the sky. Lagos streets ready, future running high. Denim bronze shining, stories never fade. Tuko pamoja, moyo unaweza. Timbuktu lesson that our fathers made. Every voice rising, calling out the dream. Africa rising, oh we rising. Feel the fire, spirit shining. Africa rising, oh we rising. Stronger now, future aligning. Africa rising, oh we rising. Hear the drums, heartbeat timing. Africa rising, Africa rising, Africa rising, oh we rising. Africa rising, Africa rising, oh we rising. Mombasa, wave singing through the night. Accra markets dancing in the light. On avance to Suni dans la foi. Nairobi children dreaming what's ahead. Wanda Hills giving hope instead. Oh, Africa, Aoni Baje. Zanzibar nights with the Swahili tone. Mandela's dream moving in the youth. Africa rising, oh we rising. Feel the fire, spirit shining. Africa rising, oh we rising. Stronger now, future aligning. Africa rising, oh we rising. Hear the drums, heartbeat timing. Africa rising, yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Rise up, sunrise on the motherland. Young hearts moving, power in their hands. Drums from Kigali waking up the sky. Lagos streets ready, future running high. Denim bronze shining, stories never fade. Tuko pamoja, moyo unaweza.
From 2019 to 2020, I enrolled at the INSEAD Business School for a program. And during my trips to Fontainebleau, it's a long drive from Paris. So one of the days as I was just driving back from Fontainebleau to Paris to catch my flight, going through the French countryside, beautiful, breathtaking, I just noticed the similarities with Africa. And I started to write wish list of what I want my continent to be like. And those were the first ideas that led to this book today, 3 years in the making, because I know that Africa is beautiful, richly endowed, and given the opportunity, it will be one of the best places on the planet. I went and I did a research to find out about number of Africans that's French, both at home and in diaspora. Pastor Mercy is one of the diaspora Africans that are Francophone. She lives in Dallas. So I searched and I found out that more than 47% of Africans in the diaspora and in Africa speak French. So I felt that in terms of inclusion, Ubuntu, we need the Francophone brothers and sisters to be aware of this book and the concept. Secondly, also, we know that there's a lot of transformation happening in Francophone Africa. So we felt that we have continental frameworks, the Agenda 2063 and the CFTA, which the Francophone brothers and sisters actually need frameworks to hasten their transformation. We also know that there are international communities, international countries and other continents that have French as their official language, and some of them have businesses in Africa. Some of them are international partners to Africa. They might be in search of information on how to relate with Africa under the new transformation agenda. So this book will also be very helpful to them. So I welcome you all. And now with Anglophone Africa and Francophone Africa having access to this book, I think we have almost more than 95% of Africa being able to use this book. So, bienvenue à tous. I hope that we'll enjoy the day, and merci beaucoup. Merci beaucoup. Over to you.
Dr. Lucie vient de nous parler de comment est-ce que ce livre en français est né. Elle a une collègue et amie avec laquelle elle a travaillé sur plusieurs projets. Et cette collègue lui a demandé un jour, quand elle a fait la version en anglais, mais pourquoi est-ce que vous n'avez pas pensé à faire une version pour les francophones aussi? Et donc, Dr. Lucie a pris le temps de faire des recherches et elle s'est rendue compte que le taux d'Africains francophones, tant en Afrique que dans la diaspora, est plus de 40%. Et donc, elle a vu vraiment la nécessité pour elle de pouvoir faire la version en français, qui est là aujourd'hui entre nos mains. Et c'est une version qui va pouvoir aider, comme je l'ai mentionné tout à l'heure, plutôt, tant les individus, les institutions, que les leaders qui sont à la tête d'institutions en Afrique ou dans la diaspora, qui pourront en fait prendre ce livre et pouvoir l'appliquer dans leur quotidien quand ils sont en train de manager et leurs entreprises et leurs familles ou leurs nations. Donc, Dr. Lucie espère que ce livre va vraiment pouvoir nous aider. Et aujourd'hui, avec la version tant en anglais qu'en français, c'est une très grande partie, pratiquement 90% de l'Afrique, qui pourra avoir accès à ces outils de management. Donc, elle nous laisse maintenant le plateau afin qu'on puisse rentrer dans plus de détails avec les intervenants. Over to you, Timmy.
I have always been upset to see so much literature about Africa being written by non-Africans. It is inconceivable that a non-African would know our continent and the multitude of complex challenges it faces better than Africans themselves. We must have our own story to tell about how we see our leadership, the vision we have for the continent, and how we believe that vision could be realized. Now, this book provides a space for this discussion to happen, to listen to people who have actually led countries and worked on their challenges, not some theoretician who just wants to assess the continent on the basis of preconceived notions of how things should be, often in disregard to the objective realities of the African context. Africa too has to transform, but how do we transform? With what? At what pace? To what end? And these are some of the issues that Dr. Lucie has discussed in the book.
Mr. Judson Wendy is the founder of the African Private Sector Summit, APSS. And on this beautiful day, he has sent word to us, and would read this very quickly. J.W. Wendy, on the launch of the French edition of Dr. Lucy Sherrill Newman's book, African Leaders Tête-à-Tête in Our Midst. Distinguished guests and esteemed leaders, members of diplomatic corps, scholars, and friends of Africa's progress, good evening. It's an honor to share this occasion with you as we celebrate the launch of the French edition of Dr. Lucy Sherrill Newman's influential book, African Leaders Tête-à-Tête. This moment is significant not only for the author, but for the entire continent, Anglophone, Francophone, every part of the continent. Allow me to begin with a part as I reflect on a personal reflection from my childhood. What does a 6-year-old or 7-year-old child truly knows about politics? How could a child still wrapped in innocence describe politics as waves of the ocean driven in varying directions and speeds by the winds? Yet, as a young boy at PHP Beach, Monrovia, Liberia, in the late 1958-1959 period, I sat for a moment gazing at the ocean sea. Suddenly, it dawned on me, and I uttered those words from the exhausting runs of the waves while holding my parents' hands. Running towards the waves, laughing and retreating as they crashed ashore, climaxing our beach outing with excitement. Our Sundays were sacred. Church in the morning, family lunch at home, and afternoons by the sea. Those simple rituals taught reverence and truth. Today, I still ask myself, was that childhood insight logical, or was it a spiritual intuition spoken through innocence? Because decades later, the metaphor now prophetically weighs against the turbulence and contradiction that continue to confront leadership across. Dr. Newman's work enters precisely at the intersection of memory, reality, and governance. Our book challenges the deep-rooted culture of political conformism, the tendency of leaders to principles, compromise values, and sacrifice integrity for personal or factional gain. She calls for leaders who are not tossed in winds of ambition, but are anchored in integrity, courage, and ethical discipline. Our reflection on self-leadership, accountability, and moral courage speaks directly to the crisis our continent navigates every day. And she writes not merely as a scholar, but as a leader whose own life exemplifies discipline, resilience, and vision. Our voice is steady. Our insight is timely. Our contribution is indispensable. The launch of this French edition opens the door for a broader conversation across Francophone Africa regions that have experienced profound political transitions, cultural complexities, and leadership reinventions. This edition is a bridge. It's an invitation to unity in thoughts, depth in reflection, and courage in leadership. Dr. Newman's work offers more than critique. It presents a practical, moral, and strategic roadmap for leaders who aspire to serve the nations with honor. A roadmap that aligns values with governance, discipline with public duty, and leadership with the aspirations of the people in fulfillment of the African Union Agenda 2063. Africa's future cannot be built on the foundation of opportunism, nor can our development be anchored on expediency. True nation building demands leaders who stand firm, who think deeply, and who act with unwavering integrity. On this momentous occasion, I extend my profound admiration to Dr. Lucy Sherrill Newman for her intellectual rigor, our personal example, and our unwavering commitment to reshaping Africa's leadership narrative. May this French edition not only broaden the conversation, but also deepen our collective resolve to build the Africa that our children, past, present, and future, deserves. Thank you. That's the statement from the current founder of the Africa Private Sector. And I'll hand over to Pastor Mercy very quickly to take us through this statement in French.
Thank you, Thierry. J'ai dit un peu plus tôt, quand je présentais à Dr. Lucy, qu'elle fait partie du conseil d'administration de Africa Private Sector Summit. Et Timmy et moi aussi, nous sommes partis de ce conseil. Et nous avons l'honneur d'avoir la déclaration du fondateur de Africa Private Sector Summit. Malheureusement, M. Judson Wendell Adi ne pourra pas être avec nous. Et je vais rapidement lire sa déclaration qu'il nous a envoyée. À l'occasion de l'apparition de l'édition française de l'ouvrage de Dr. Lucy, les leaders de l'Afrique, tête-à-tête au milieu de nous. Le 29 novembre 2025, mesdames et messieurs les invités, mesdames, messieurs les dirigeants, mesdames et messieurs les membres du corps diplomatique, les universitaires, les amis du progrès africain, bonsoir. C'est un honneur pour moi de partager ce moment avec vous à l'occasion de l'apparition française de l'ouvrage marquant du Dr. Lucy, les leaders de l'Afrique tête-à-tête au milieu de nous. Ce moment est important non seulement pour l'auteur, mais pour tout le continent, tant anglophone, francophone que lusophone. Permettez-moi de dire que ce livre parle à toute l'Afrique. Permettez-moi aussi de commencer par un souvenir personnel de mon enfance. Que c'est vraiment un enfant de 6 ou 7 ans de la politique? Comment un enfant encore empreint d'innocence pourra-t-il décrire la politique comme les vagues de l'océan poussées dans des directions et à des vitesses variables par les vents? Pourtant, petit garçon sur la plage de PHP à Monrovia, Libéria, à la fin de l'année 1958 ou au début de l'année 1959, je suis resté un instant assis à contempler les vagues. Soudain, l'évidence m'est apparue et j'ai prononcé ces mots lors de mes courses épuisantes vers les vagues, main dans la main avec mes parents, courant vers elles, riant puis reculant à chaque fois qu'elles s'écrasaient sur le rivage, couronnant notre journée à la plage d'une joie intense. Nos dimanches étaient sacrés. L'église le matin, le déjeuner en famille à la maison et les après-midi au bord de la mer. Ces rituels simples nous enseignaient l'unité, le respect et la vérité. Aujourd'hui encore, je me demande, cette intuition d'enfant était-elle logique ou était-ce une intuition spirituelle exprimée avec innocence? Car des décennies plus tard, cette métaphore résonne comme une prophétie face aux turbulences et aux contradictions qui continuent de confronter les dirigeants africains. L'ouvrage de Dr. Newman se situe précisément à la croisée de la mémoire, de la morale et de la gouvernance moderne. Son livre remet en question la culture profondément enracinée du continent du conformisme politique. Cette tendance des dirigeants à infléchir leurs principes, à compromettre leurs valeurs et à sacrifier leurs intégrités pour des gains personnels ou partisans. Elle appelle à former des leaders qui ne se laissent pas emporter par les vents changeants de l'ambition, mais qui s'appuient sur l'intégrité, le courage et la rigueur éthique. Ces réflexions sur le leadership personnel, la responsabilité et le courage moral abordent directement les crises que notre continent traverse au quotidien. Elle est écrite non seulement pour les universitaires, mais aussi pour les dirigeants dont la vie même témoigne de discipline, de résilience et de vision. Sa voix est assurée. Son analyse est opportune, sa contribution est indispensable. L'apparition de cette édition française ouvre la voie à un dialogue plus large à travers l'Afrique francophone, des régions qui ont connu de profondes transitions politiques, des complexités culturelles et des réinventions du leadership. Cette édition est un pont. C'est une invitation à l'unité de pensée, à la profondeur de la réflexion et au courage du leadership. L'œuvre de Dr Newman va au-delà de la simple critique. Il présente une feuille de route pratique, morale et stratégique aux dirigeants qui aspirent à servir leur nation avec honneur. Une feuille de route qui aligne les valeurs sur la gouvernance, la discipline sur le devoir public et le leadership sur les aspirations du peuple, conformément à l'agenda 2063 de l'Union africaine. L'avenir de l'Afrique ne peut reposer sur l'opportunisme, ni son développement sur le simple opportunisme. La construction d'une véritable nation exige des dirigeants fermes, réfléchis et d'une intégrité sans faille. En cette occasion mémorable, j'adresse ma plus profonde admiration à Dr Lucie pour sa rigueur intellectuelle, son exemple personnel et son engagement indéfectible à redéfinir le rôle du leadership africain. Puis cette édition nous aider à enrichir le débat, tant au niveau individuel qu'avec toute l'Afrique. Merci encore.
I honestly thought that at my age I wouldn't be struggling to learn many more acronyms and so on, but Lucy managed to hit us with all sorts of terms that some I even remember in my sleep: ED4SP, SWOT plus. Interestingly, I always also spoke about the entrepreneur or the businessman or whoever, knowing the big difference between controllable factors and uncontrollable factors, which she refers to largely as threats and opportunities and so on, because very often in Africa, people mix up these factors which are controllable from the ones which are uncontrollable. The ones that they can control, things like doing your homework, due diligence and so on, they often leave them and start praying about them. And I always say you should be praying for God to help you with the uncontrollable factors, whilst you should be controlling the ones that are within your control, like doing your homework, background checks, all those sorts of things. So I was glad that she's pulled it all together in her own way. And then I also particularly like the emphasis, or not emphasis so much as the continuous mention of the diaspora. Because there's a popular misconception. I think there are two kinds of Africans in diaspora. There are the kind who have left Africa and really don't want to belong to Africa. And there's the other type, which I'm very familiar with. They're out there in Europe or America, but guess what? Their hearts and minds are in Africa. And they're the ones who sort of pester some of us every day who are in Africa, challenging us to do this and do the other. And some of my colleagues tell them, well, if you believe so much in Africa, why are you out there? And I always say, no. The world is now one big global village and you can contribute from wherever you are. I would like to especially commend Lucy and to let her know that I think this is a great effort on her part. And I have no doubt whatsoever that it will provoke thought in many places. And I also join in trying to commend this book. I will also commend this book to various people that I think can benefit, if not from the whole book, but from sections of the book.
Let me start by saying that it's an old saying that the mark of a good book that is changing every time that you read it. That is, every time you read it, it is like the first time because you want to go back and learn something new. So the African Leaders Tete, Navigating Entity Design and Prioritization for Systemic Outcomes, provides the reader a good lens to understand strategy at different levels and in very broad and wide context. In a remarkable way, the author outlines conceptual framework that is powered by the tools that she herself discovered, that is the ED4SP, an acronym that enables entity design for sustainable performance. In the same vein, the author utilized the SWOT Plus, another acronym created by the author to extend the application of the strategic planning tool, SWOT, which we all know, that includes entity implementation with suggested resource allocation and timelines. The awesome framework allows a reader not only to understand, but to make him eager to apply the concept and the framework to his practical realities. This well-documented book, written by our own sister, a very articulate, hardworking sister for that matter, Dr. Newman, is a must-read for anyone who is curious about how to make sense of strategy at all levels.
The book, The African Leaders Tete-à-Tête, going through it, I saw that it provides us with the much needed dialogue on how transformational leadership can positively impact the prosperity of the continent of Africa. And also I was intrigued by the referenced Agenda 2063, the Africa we want, that's using a 50-year vision as a roadmap. And I know that each country would have to translate appropriately to reap the desired success. I will, however, add that implementing an effective monitoring and evaluation framework would go a long way in achieving these goals. I want to bring us back to the whole COVID pandemic, and which was also referenced in the book. And the COVID pandemic, it brought out the strength and vulnerability of nations in the world, but likewise, it also brought out innovative thinking in countering the negative impact of the virus. And we can see how a lot of organizations have blossomed even in a pandemic area. But that same innovativeness continues to be available in leveraging opportunities and finding solutions to the challenges that we have in Africa. And so the power of the book, African Leaders Tete-à-Tête, is in the mastery of words that Lucy has used, the storytelling, and how she has creatively discussed all these pertinent issues, providing two simple tools, which has been referenced, and it allows us as the reader to reflect and look inward.
And when we hear the word first home of humanity, I can relate it very well, at least from a Malaysian context. Years ago, oil palm used to be the most valuable economic contribution for Malaysia. And about 100 years ago, we first got oil palm from Nigeria. When I hear the word diaspora, I can relate very well. So the power of diaspora, the contribution of African community, whether in leadership, medicine, science, sports, the entire French team, you can say, is from Africa, and many other world leaders in art, science, technology, etc., etc. But in order to put all this together, it's like you can have 20 Beethoven, but you put them together without a coordination, 20 Beethoven will create noise. And I guess Dr. Lucy's book, wonderful book, will be a great inspiration to leaders not only in Africa, anywhere in the world, to harness and optimize the most valuable resource we have, talent.
Congratulations, Dr. Lucy. And I just want to let everybody know that in 2019, Dr. Lucy was awarded the Thomas Gilbert Award for distinguished work in the field of human performance improvement and technology. And this book is just another evidence of her contribution to the field. I read a few chapters. I love it. I loved seeing the African background. It was just beautiful to picture the way that you wrote everything and the new tools that you're introducing. I can't wait to see how you apply these. I just got my copy and read through what I could. But Dr. Lucy, congratulations. Thank you for all your service to the International Society of Performance Improvement. I'm the current president and I reside in Tennessee, USA. So it's just a privilege to be with all of you and to hear all the good things that Dr. Lucy has accomplished. And so I just want to congratulate you. Thank you for inviting me.
Then it was in 2021, I invited Lucy to speak at my symposium on the economics of ignorance. The ambassador alluded to it, your previous speakers alluded to it. As long as you are factionalized, you will not proceed. You must come together as a community. And with that, I had a private giggle when I saw the name of the book, A Tête-à-Tête, a private conversation. All change starts with conversation. It starts with getting to know each other. It's getting to see how we're common. It's building a shared vision, not my putting my vision on you, but our creating a shared vision of what we're doing. So with that, I compliment you, Lucy, on the wisdom of your title. And yes, it's full of all of the practical how-to systematic process, but the real point is she understands it starts with conversation. It starts with our seeing ourselves as a community mutually committed to each other and also believing in our strengths and our resources, not letting the outside world tell who we are, creating our own vision.
Hello, I'm Mariano Bernardes, CEO of the Kaufman Center, where we work across the Americas, Europe, Africa, and Asia, identifying and supporting high-impact social innovation through the Kaufman Awards and the Prahad Awards. I want to take a moment to highlight an outstanding new contribution to our field, Lucy Newman's African Leaders Tête-à-Tête, Navigating Entity Design and Prioritization of Systemic Outcomes. What makes this book especially valuable is how deeply it reflects the influence of Roger Kaufman mega planning, the idea that organizations must align their design and priorities with the outcomes they create for society. Lucy brings that philosophy to life with clarity, discipline, and long experience on the ground. As a long-standing juror of the Prahad Awards, Dr. Newman has helped us identify and evaluate some of the world's most innovative programs. Her new book applies that same strategic intelligence to the challenges African leaders face today, and the result is a practical, systemic guide that is both grounded and visionary. I encourage every leader working in complex environments to read it. It is sharp, actionable, and profoundly aligned with the mega principles we champion at the Kaufman Center. Congratulations, Lucy, on a truly important contribution.
Allow me to invite to the podium alongside Pastor Mercy, our special guest of honor for tonight, in person of Ms. Bogo Bebanoye Bayende. Please pardon me if I didn't get the name correctly, but she is the Director of Strategic Planning and Delivery at the African Union Commission. Madam Bogo is also a Botswana-born development professional and a corporate strategist. And she is responsible for the technical coordination of the Continental Blueprint Agenda 2063, which is in alignment with other frameworks such as the UN, SDGs, and the Agenda 2030. Madam Botho earned bachelor's degrees in social sciences, statistics, and demography from the University of Botswana. She obtained a Master of Science in Strategic Management in the University of Derby, the UK. And she has undergone various leadership and management training, won so many awards, and we are so delighted to have her join us today as a special guest of honor. Before she comes on stage, I would hand over to Pastor Mercy to please bring on stage Mrs. Botho as we take the French version.
Je suis heureuse d'introduire Madame Botho Kebabonye Bayandi. Je m'excuse si je n'ai pas bien prononcé son nom. Madame Botho est directrice de la planification stratégique et de la mise en œuvre à la Commission de l'Union africaine, relevant du cabinet de la présidente. Elle est aussi responsable de la coordination technique du plan directeur continental Agenda 2063 et de son alignement avec d'autres cadres tels que ODD des Nations Unies et l'Agenda 2030. Nous avons le plaisir d'avoir Madame Botho qui va nous faire son review sur le livre.
Thank you very much, Director of Proceedings, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, due protocol observed, and good evening. I would have sincerely loved to see Dr. Lucy in person, but she knows the hectic work that we are doing that would not spare me. I therefore want to once more emphasize that I am an African woman who happened to be born in Botswana, currently serving the Africans in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, the African Union. And I am here tonight because the book of Dr. Lucy touched on Agenda 2063, which is an assignment in my desk, and I'm very passionate about it. I'm also here because the first thing that attracted me to the book was aspect of Ubuntu, and that my name Botho is a reflection of that. Dr. Lucy also, in her articulation in this book, represented diversity, big faith, boldness, and ability to confront difficult matters, which as a person I relate so much with. I also was delighted by the dialogue, the conversations, the engagement inherent in humanity that are actually part of who we are as Africans, and seeing it being part of the structure of the book. Evident to it was the African traits of truthfulness, humility, when talking to the leaders, but not compromising the truth. I am here this evening because I concur with the author in many respects, and one of them being the hope that the Africa we want is possible, is feasible, and need all of us as individuals and as collective. The need for accountable individuals, families, societies, nations, and communities accumulate into our continent. That each one of us need to know that we are part of the whole that is required to create the Africa we want. In a nutshell, what is this Africa that we want? The Africa we want, if I may say, the vision is an integrated, prosperous, and peaceful Africa, driven by its own citizens and representing a dynamic force in the global arena. This book unpacks all aspects of this vision, which is also the blueprint of Africa's development. I call it a book at face value, but if it's a book, it's indeed a special book in the 4 ways Ambassador Sefu also called it a manual to help leaders of governments, of institutions and corporations provide transformational leadership. The author herself called it a one-on-one discussion between the reader and the author that makes the reader feel like they are not reading but having a dialogue. The one that defined the quality of the organic African leadership, which was about dialogue even before we knew how to read and write. I love this book, and if I may go back to the insights of it, reflecting on one other author called Baka, that experience is not a learning, but reflections on experience provide the learning that we need. So this book calls for in-depth reflection. Back to what the Africa we want and how this book articulated it so well. It acknowledges that the role of leadership should be transformational and should be conscious and intentionally or deliberate about articulating the role of leadership and the model of leadership. If you want to know your role as a leader in creating this Africa we want, you really have to have this copy. I'm glad that African Union has 6 official languages and we are at 2 today, from English to English and French. I want to applaud Dr. Lucy for that intentionality. The aspect of the vision of Agenda 2063 that the Africa we want must be citizen-driven. The book acknowledges the role of integration through Africa Continental Free Trade Area, AFCFTA. It also acknowledges the demographic dividend that Africa is over 60% youthful. And if the agenda is to be driven by citizens of Africa, it means that the strength is in the youth, but it paints out the other side, which is the risk. The risk being that if these youth are not employed, it means that they are not at the right time contributing to the economies that have to take care of them in their old age. So this balances the equation that yes, we have a positive demographic dividend, but we need to exploit it fully. The Agenda 2063 moonshots take care of this concern or risk by mapping that in what we call Moonshot 1. By 2033, every AU member state should be in at least middle income, and that embarking on key thematic issues such as industrialization, improving agricultural production and productivity, exploiting the riches of Africa, our minerals, and even our waters, our blue economy. Dr. Lucy stated it very well in page 26, and she also articulated it in the last video that when entities thrive, jobs are created, taxes are paid, services are procured, and families are impacted, which means that we are conscious that the Africa we want, we also need to create. The youth need to be empowered. They need to be an opportunity and leverage rather than to be a risk, which becomes a reality if we are not able to create jobs for them. The role of leadership to Agenda 2063 is sufficiently pronounced throughout this book. For Agenda 2063, anything that is negative or contributes to the negative brand reverses our gain, such as aspects of corruption, but the agenda goes out to commit good governance. The book also touches on the sixth region of Africa, the diaspora, the silent contributors of our economies through remittances, Africa for it to fund its development, the domestic resource mobilization strategy need to be exploited, and the role of the diaspora is very significant. We need global players. Those people in the diaspora, like Dr. Lucy said in the book, they need to know the agenda. For them to be able to know their role, they need to be made aware, and the book does exactly that. Allow me to also look back to how the book provides leverage and awareness at a time where, through the artificial intelligence and other strategies, we need to be able to have knowledge that these systems exploit. Those who use AI would know that it exploits a lot of existing knowledge. And Dr. Lucy, you've done a good job, because what you present in this book is exactly the insights that can be gathered and exploited through science and technology. How do we represent a dynamic force in the global arena, and how does the book facilitate us? I want to echo the same words, or my statement aligns to the previous speaker, that depending on external narratives about who Africa is will never represent us and our interest. We need to own the narrative to develop Africa solutions for Africa problems. The challenges we experience as a continent, they are not theory to us, they are practical, and we articulate them better than anyone else. The realities we are at are no longer discoveries of anyone wiser than us. We are wise, we know them, we are conscious of them, we have plans and strategies to confront them, mapped in Agenda 2063 and driven by all of us. Dr. Lucy had done her part, unpacking the insights towards the transformational journey. All we need is to immerse ourselves in this valuable book, in this valuable write-up. Hands on the deck, all of us, to co-create the Africa we want. The how is defined by the book, which has practical examples. Rise Africa towards the Africa we want. Thank you very much.
And permit me to bring on stage Mr. Amadou Umaru, who will be the first speaker to review this book. Please join me listening as I read his profile very briefly. Mr. Amadou Umaru currently sits as the CEO of Bitumen Cameroon PLC, a company that was created to build a refinery specializing in the production of bitumen for road paving, thus promoting the development of infrastructure in Cameroon and the sub-region. He is a lawyer, an expert in governance and public policy. He also has expertise in business law, public finance, and corporate restructuring. I'll hand over quickly to Pastor Mercy to also read his bio for our French audience.
Voilà, je vais rapidement lire le résumé de Monsieur Amadou Umaru, qui est francophone. Monsieur Umaru est CEO de All Bitumen Cameroon PLC, une compagnie qui a été créée pour la raffinerie spécialisée dans la production de bitumen pour le pavage des routes, ce qui permet en fait de pouvoir promouvoir le développement de l'infrastructure au Cameroun et dans la sous-région. Monsieur Oumarou est un avocat et un expert dans la gouvernance et dans la politique publique. Il est aussi un expert dans le business law. Il est aussi dans le financement public et la restructuration des entreprises. Il a aussi dirigé un portfolio de plus de 120 projets au niveau des ports, des routes, des aéroports et du développement urbain, tant en Afrique que partout en Afrique, pour un montant total de 15 milliards. Merci beaucoup. Ce qui a en fait amené beaucoup de commitments, beaucoup d'accords.
Merci, monsieur le modérateur. Merci, madame. Merci, chers panélistes, distingués invités, docteur Lucie et tous les amis présents. C'est avec un grand plaisir que je prends la parole aujourd'hui pour échanger autour de cet ouvrage remarquable, Tête-à-Tête avec les leaders africains. Je voudrais avant tout saluer l'autrice, oui, ou l'auteur que j'ai connu par ailleurs dans nos échanges sur la good governance en Afrique et dont l'engagement, la rigueur et la sensibilité ont permis de produire un livre qui n'est pas seulement un recueil d'entretiens, mais un véritable témoignage de notre temps. Ce livre arrive dans un contexte où l'Afrique est en pleine redéfinition de ses modèles économiques, institutionnels et politiques. Les questions de leadership, de gouvernance et de vision à long terme n'ont jamais été aussi cruciales en Afrique. Et c'est précisément sur ces enjeux que l'ouvrage le docteur Lucie apporte une contribution singulière. De mon point de vue, c'est d'abord un livre qui humanise le leadership africain. Ce qui frappe d'emblée dans l'ouvrage, c'est la proximité. L'auteur ne se contente pas de décrire des trajectoires. Elle nous fait entrer dans l'intimité intellectuelle de ces leaders, dans leurs doutes, dans leurs combats et dans leurs inspirations. En lisant ces pages, on découvre des femmes et des hommes qui portent la responsabilité du changement, parfois dans des environnements institutionnels extrêmement complexes. Et cette approche est rare. Elle donne un visage humain à des décideurs souvent perçus comme distants ou abstraits. Le livre, pour moi, est également une contribution précieuse à la réflexion sur la gouvernance en Afrique. Au-delà du récit, le livre permet d'identifier les tendances profondes qui traversent nos institutions, à savoir la nécessité d'un leadership enraciné, capable de s'appuyer sur les réalités locales pour concevoir des stratégies pertinentes. L'importance du capital humain, que beaucoup de leaders interrogés considèrent comme la clé de toute transformation durable. La gouvernance comme acte de responsabilité ou transparence, exemplarité et redevabilité, ce qu'on appelle en French accountability. En anglais, accountability ne sont plus des options, mais des fondements. Le leadership transformationnel qui consiste à redresser les institutions fragiles et à mobiliser des équipes et à fixer un cap dans un contexte d'incertitude multiples. Là où certains ouvrages sur la gouvernance africaine restent théoriques ou prescriptifs, celui du Dr Lucie a le mérite de partir du concret, des expériences vécues, des crises traversées et des décisions parfois difficiles. Le livre est également plein d'exemples inspirants de transformations institutionnelles. L'auteur met en lumière des trajectoires de leaders qui ont réussi à impulser des changements profonds. Et au-delà du livre, ces parcours font écho à plusieurs transformations majeures que l'Afrique a connues au cours de la dernière décennie. On peut citer la restructuration de la Banque rwandaise de développement, la BRD, qui est passée d'une institution fragilisée à un acteur financier crédible grâce à une gouvernance modernisée. L'exceptionnelle réussite d'Ethiopian Airlines symbolise d'une gouvernance stable, d'une vision de long terme et d'une autonomie opérationnelle rarement observée dans le secteur public africain. Ces success stories démontrent que les institutions africaines peuvent être performantes lorsque les ingrédients du leadership transformationnel sont réunis. C'est également un livre stimulant, mais qui laisse aussi matière à débat. Comme toute œuvre intellectuelle, l'ouvrage ouvre également des questions. Peut-on aller plus loin dans l'analyse critique de certaines trajectoires? Comment traduire ces enseignements en véritable cadre conceptuel pour nos institutions? Comment éviter de généraliser à partir d'un nombre limité d'expériences individuelles? Ces limites ne diminuent en rien la valeur du livre. Elles en font au contraire un excellent point de départ pour les discussions que nous allons avoir aujourd'hui ou plus tard, ou probablement dans un second ouvrage que Dr Lucie va écrire bientôt. Je souhaite en tout cas. C'est une invitation, Dr Lucie. En définitive, Tête-à-Tête avec les leaders africains est un ouvrage qui nous invite à mieux comprendre nos dirigeants, à réfléchir sur ce que signifie gouverner dans un contexte africain et à reconnaître les femmes et les hommes qui, à leur manière, participent de façon remarquable dans la planification de l'avenir du continent. Je voudrais remercier l'auteur pour ce travail précieux et me réjouir de ce débat qui, j'en suis sûr, sera riche, exigeant et inspirant. Je vous remercie de votre aimable attention.
I think what I will first of all take note here is that Dr. Lucie, he says you need to write another book because what you wrote is very important. So that we should have that in mind. I'm in accordance with what he has said. He also spoke about the fact that it talks about a certain material which Africa at this moment needs it, and that everybody should take out time to read the book because the governance system we have, it's one which needs to be reoriented, readjusted, and particularly the economic sector, we could do better. He pointed out, sorry about the noise, he pinpointed important parts in the book which he thinks Dr. Lucie pointed out and which makes the book much more important. In general, he also called on Dr. Lucie to think from this moment to do another book because he thinks it's another way to edify Africans, which we have to know more about what is happening in our continent, how to go about it, and how to do better. Over to you, Timmy.
The next person, to invite on this stage is one that, I'm struggling to read her profile, but I'm now struggling to see how I would then read her profile in French, because this next person happens to be the co-host. Hopefully, if she's gracious enough, I don't know if she would mind or not mind, just to read her profile to us in French, but I'm very delighted, to bring on stage again. If you could please join me with your hands, if your hands are not too busy, join me by jamming your hands together by signs of emoji as I bring to the podium the next speaker to review the book, Pastor Mercy Bore, who currently sits as a human resource manager at the University of Texas. She's an image consultant, a speaker, a TV host, an international certified human resource practitioner, international development professional, founder and executive producer, Mercy TV Network. She's also the president and founder of Leadership Excellence for Women by Women. She's no other person than the amazing Pastor Mercy. Please jam your hands together on stage.
Thank you so much, Timmy. Ça fait un peu bizarre de s'introduire soi-même, mais je suis responsable des ressources humaines à l'Université du Texas, au Texas ici, depuis 10 ans. Et je suis aussi formatrice et consultante en images, conférencière, et j'ai aussi ma chaîne de télévision à Dallas ici, à Mercy TV Network, et aussi présidente et fondatrice de l'ONG Leadership Excellence pour femmes et par femmes. Je vais rapidement donner ma critique du livre. Et j'ai beaucoup aimé déjà le cover du livre. Et vous pouvez vous commander le livre, que vous soyez aux États-Unis, je ne sais pas pourquoi ça ne montre pas, que vous soyez aux États-Unis ou en Afrique ou en Europe, vous pouvez toujours vous procurer le livre à travers les différents canaux que nous allons partager avec vous tout à l'heure. Quand j'ai ouvert le livre, je vous assure que je n'avais pas vraiment regardé tout l'intérieur. Mais dès la page 10, j'ai déjà aimé le fait que le livre se focalisait en fait sur une discussion. Et je pense qu'une des interventrices a parlé de cela, une conversation. Parce qu'à travers la communication, nous pouvons donner nos idées, nous pouvons rentrer dans une analyse, nous pouvons faire un débat. Et même si ce sont des débats où nous ne sommes pas d'accord, mais c'est toujours une opportunité de pouvoir connaître l'état d'esprit de l'autre. Et donc, j'ai beaucoup aimé le fait que dès la préface, l'auteur a mis l'accent sur l'aspect conversation. Parce que, en général, les livres pratiques, c'est beaucoup plus les théories, c'est beaucoup plus comment faire les choses, mais l'aspect humanitaire manque. Et pour ma part, j'ai passé les 4 derniers jours à littéralement utiliser mon feutre pour me rappeler de certains aspects du livre auxquels je peux rapidement me référer. Dr. Lucy a mis l'accent sur 3 acteurs dans le livre. Les acteurs individuels qui sont vous et moi, l'acteur de leader qui est à la tête d'une organisation, et l'acteur, en fait, troisième auteur, qui est l'acteur qui dirige une nation ou une grande entité. Et en faisant cela, j'ai trouvé vraiment qu'elle a rendu l'aspect du livre très humain, très pratique, parce que dès la préface, elle nous fait comprendre que tu sois individuel, que tu sois dirigeant d'entreprise ou dirigeant d'une grande institution, ce qu'elle va nous montrer dans le livre, justement les 2 principes dont elle a parlé, le SWOT analysis, qui est en fait l'analyse des facteurs que tu peux contrôler et ou que tu ne peux pas contrôler, et aussi le fait de comprendre que beaucoup en Afrique, aujourd'hui, quand nous nous référons en Afrique, beaucoup parlent d'échecs. Mais quelles sont les leçons que nous pouvons apprendre de ces échecs-là pour pouvoir éviter les mêmes erreurs, mais surtout nous équiper pour le futur. Et elle nous recommande en fait comment lire le livre, que j'ai aussi beaucoup aimé, parce que j'ai tenté de faire l'opposé de ce qu'elle disait, et effectivement, je me suis rendu compte que sa technique qu'elle nous propose, qui est de lire le livre en fait en plusieurs parties, la partie 1 et 2 ensemble, qui vous permettra en fait d'avoir une idée beaucoup plus large de ce qu'elle veut vraiment nous montrer. Ensuite, le milieu du livre où elle rentre maintenant dans le côté pratique et comment utiliser ces outils. Donc, pour ma part, je conseille sincèrement à tout un chacun de se procurer le livre, qui est disponible aussi en version électronique. Mais étant de l'ancienne école, je préfère vraiment l'aspect du livre pratique où je peux mettre mes annotations. Et ce que j'ai beaucoup aimé aussi, au niveau de la page 75, elle parle des réflexions sur les concepts. Non seulement les réflexions, mais elle vous permet de pouvoir personnaliser le livre. J'ai beaucoup adoré ça, Dr. Lucy. Au niveau de la page 77, où vous pouvez carrément mettre votre nom, et écrire ce que vous avez déjà compris au niveau de la page 1 jusqu'à la page 76. Et donc, la page 77, 78 et 60 jusqu'à 81 vous donne vraiment l'opportunité de décrire les points que vous avez appris dans le livre. Ce que j'ai beaucoup aimé parce que ça vous permet vraiment de faire une syntaxe en live. Parce que des fois, nous avons tendance à lire les livres et après nous déposons. Mais le fait de pouvoir nous donner des sections où nous pouvons nous-mêmes prendre le temps de faire l'analyse de ce que nous venons de dire et de faire un résumé va beaucoup vous aider plus tard à repartir dans le livre et à pouvoir tirer les points clés que vous avez retenus. J'ai aussi beaucoup aimé la page 83 où en fait elle te permet de faire le résumé des points 1 à 8 de ce que vous avez appris. Parce que Dr. Lucy aussi nous a montré des illustrations avec le SWOT analysis qui peut sembler être compliqué, mais elle a vraiment pris le temps de rendre l'analyse du SWOT très simpliciste et qui te permet de pouvoir comprendre de quoi qu'elle parle. Par exemple, en page 82, elle parle de confronter, d'exploiter et d'optimiser, qui sont en fait la force individuelle que nous avons, la force en tant que dirigeant d'entreprise et la force en tant que dirigeant d'entité étatique. Elle nous parle aussi des faiblesses et des menaces et des opportunités. Et pour ma part, je me dis que vous soyez chef de famille, que vous soyez maman ou même femme au foyer, parce que ce que nous oublions, en général, quand nous parlons de leadership, beaucoup ont tendance à penser qu'un leader, c'est simplement quelqu'un qui dirige d'autres personnes, mais même une femme au foyer, une maman au foyer peut lire ce livre et l'appliquer pour la gestion de son foyer, l'éducation de ses enfants. Donc, je vous recommande vraiment le livre. Je ne vais pas donner tous les détails, autrement vous n'allez pas acheter le livre. Voilà, merci beaucoup Dr. Lucy d'avoir pris le temps et je me joins à Monsieur Oumarou qui t'invite à faire un second livre. Donc, nous sommes disposés et nous sommes à l'attente. Merci beaucoup. I will try to quickly translate what I said in English. I truly love the book by Dr. Lucy. I received the book 4 days ago, and due to the time constraint, sometimes I like to challenge the status quo. Dr. Lucy from page 10 gave us set the stage and made us understand that the 3 key players in the book are you and I as individual, you as a leader of an entity, and then the third person will be the leader at a global stage, which I truly love, because most of the time when we talk about leadership, we tend to see individual at a higher level. Whereas the book, when you take time to read it, and the way she broke down the concept will help even a stay-at-home mom to understand that she's a leader. She can read the book, she can implement what Dr. Lucy is saying to see much success in educating, in raising her kids, and then building her family. I particularly love what Dr. Lucy did on page 80, I believe. She took time not only to give us concepts, but in some part of the book, like page 53, she kind of gave us the key points to remember in each part. That is wonderful. Because sometimes we tend to read and then later on we may remember 1 or 2 things, and you spend time now trying to find where is what you are thinking of. So at the end of each section, she's really giving us summary, key take nuggets that you can walk away with. Not only that, I love the way that she structured the book. She will give you the concept, and then from page, I believe 70, she gives you the option, page 76 actually, to I believe 80, not only to read, come up with nuggets, but personalize by putting your own name. I love that, because I believe as adults, we learn more when we implement what we learn, when we can relate right away. And the fact that she took time to provide those sections to us from page 77 to 81, that is wonderful. I love that. Regarding the SWOT concept, many will hear about it, and I believe one of the speakers talked about it. The factor that you can control and those that you cannot control. In our African mind, most of the time we tend to think like, well, whatever I cannot control, I give it to God. But Dr. Lucy is here on page 82, breaking that down for us, making us to analyze what is it that I can control, what are my strengths, my weakness, and then what are the opportunities that I can take on? How can I tap into all of that? Love that concept. I'm not going to give you much more because then you will not be buying the book. We will give you the point of sale at the end of the discussion, but I truly recommend each and every one of us, whether you are a stay-at-home mom, whether you are a young graduate, whether you are still going to school or you are a leader in your community, in your home, or in your nation, get the book, read it, and start implementing. Thank you so much.
Mesdames et messieurs, bonsoir, chers participants. Je suis très heureuse d'être avec vous pour ce lancement du livre Tête-à-Tête avec les leaders africains du docteur Lucy Newman. Alors, ce livre est un appel à tous, d'accord, nous oblige à commencer une certaine réflexion sur les problèmes de notre continent, d'accord, nous oblige à une honnêteté intellectuelle également, vis-à-vis de notre continent et de nos populations. Parce que vous constaterez que non seulement il y a plusieurs ethnies dans les différents pays, mais dépendant des différents pays également, nous retrouvons les mêmes ethnies dans d'autres pays. Donc, ce qui veut dire que notre continent est un. D'accord ? Donc, il est temps que nous arrêtions de nous battre pour des intérêts personnels et que nous amorcions un vrai développement de notre continent. Et lorsque je parle de continent, de développement, je ne parle pas de chiffres. Je parle de ce développement que l'on peut évaluer en regardant donc nos populations et leur niveau de vie qui s'améliore ou pas. C'est de ça qu'il s'agit en fait. Le livre Tête-à-Tête avec les leaders africains que nous sommes, quels qu'ils sont, est un projet noble et nécessaire. Et le moment est arrivé, c'est maintenant. Mon plus grand plaisir, c'est que cela s'est fait à l'initiative d'une femme. Et l'autre plaisir est que c'est une femme africaine. Parce que les discussions dans les salons à se plaindre et ne prendre aucune initiative, je pense que ce temps est révolu et qu'il est temps que nous, Africains, nous prenions nos responsabilités, que nous nous proposions nous-mêmes des solutions à nos problèmes, que nous ayons suffisamment de courage pour essayer de les mettre en place pour pouvoir avancer. Parce que le respect aussi se mérite, d'accord? Alors, bien évidemment, nos prédécesseurs, avant les indépendances, un peu après les indépendances, sont passés par les mêmes réflexions. Ils ont été arrêtés, certains ont eu des fins tragiques. Néanmoins, nous sommes prêts et nous savons. Et nous savons également que notre développement est lié. Comment se délier? C'est de ça qu'il s'agit. Non, nous savons. Et nous devons faire ce que nous avons à faire pour nos continents, pour nos pays. Ce n'est pas la guerre, c'est la recherche de la libération, c'est la recherche du développement pour nos populations, pour notre continent et pour le respect du reste du monde également. D'accord? Toujours est-il qu'il y a des propositions dans ce livre, il faut des stratégies qui sont proposées qui vont nous permettre aux uns aux autres de réfléchir, peut-être même d'apporter aussi des suggestions n'est-ce pas, à ce qui a été proposé par le docteur Lucy Newman. Mais il est temps maintenant vraiment d'approcher les choses différemment et d'arrêter de dire c'est la colonisation qui nous a retardés. Oui, la colonisation nous a retardés. Elle nous a plus que retardés. Bon, on a compris. Ensuite, on fait quoi? Il faut qu'on avance. Et c'est de ça qu'il s'agit, d'accord? Alors, j'irai même plus loin en proposant que certains des thèmes, même allégés, soient proposés dans les lycées. Il faut préparer l'avenir, il faut préparer les jeunes, il faut préparer le leadership du futur. Donc, il faut aider les élèves à réfléchir, à discuter, à donner leur avis. Il faut aussi les informer sur certains points de notre histoire, de notre économie, de notre société. Il faut qu'on arrête d'avoir des sujets tabous ou qui ne le sont pas d'ailleurs, d'accord? Maintenant, la bonne gouvernance. La bonne gouvernance permet d'installer la paix et la solidarité entre les populations. Le maintien des traditions culturelles permet de préserver l'identité de la communauté. Et pour cela, il faut absolument un système judiciaire indépendant de l'exécutif. C'est là la pierre d'achoppement de nombreux gouvernements africains. Sans une justice indépendante et forte, nous allons aux dérives. D'ailleurs que nous voyons des arrestations arbitraires d'opposants au pouvoir en place, d'accord, tricherie dans les votes, violence sur les femmes qui sont exonérées par exemple. Alors tête à tête avec les leaders africains arrive à un moment où le continent semble se perdre. C'est un appel à tous, à tout le leadership africain. Et c'est également une information éducative pour les populations qui n'ont pas de repères, qui ne comprennent pas trop ce qui se passe. Il faut qu'on les éduque également, d'accord? Alors, je voudrais remercier le docteur Lucy Newman pour cette initiative. Parce qu'elle vient de prouver encore une fois que les femmes ont leur place à la table des discussions. Merci.
The next, book reviewer is someone very respected in person of Professor Fortunata Sogara Makene, who currently sits as the Executive Director, Economic and Social Research Foundation, ESRF, a policy think tank in Tanzania. She's a distinguished sociologist, development expert, and a leading advocate for gender equity and social protection, with over 2 decades of experience in research, policy development, and leadership. She has supported research and policy work on social protection and human rights, development, sociology of law, transnational institutions and organizations mainly in sub-Saharan Africa and the United States of America. Professor Makene has taught sociology, global studies, and women's studies at Worcester State University and Clark University in the United States, and was the head of Department of Research and Policy in Unogzi University, where she also designed a Woman in Leadership program. She was in this role when in May 2023, the Institute held a book review session of the English version of the book being launched today. Professor Makene hosted that session on behalf of CEO of the Institute, Mr. Kadori Lincoln Singo, who was away on other duties the day of the Unogzi book review of African Leaders Tete-à-Tête, Navigating Entity Design and Prioritization of Systemic Outcomes.
Merci beaucoup, M. Timi. Nous allons maintenant avoir la revue de professeur Fortuna Songora Makene. Elle est anglophone. Elle est directrice générale de l'économie de la Fondation de recherche sur de la recherche économique et sociale. Depuis 2023, c'est une sociologue éminente, une experte en développement et une défenseuse de premier plan de l'équité de genre et de la protection sociale. Elle a plus de 20 ans d'expérience en recherche, en élaboration de politiques publiques et en leadership. Professeur Fortuna dirige actuellement l'économie, la Fondation pour la recherche économique et sociale, un groupe de réflexion stratégique, think tank, de politique publique en Tanzanie. Elle a contribué à des travaux de recherche et de politique portant sur la protection sociale et les droits humains, le développement, la sociologie du droit, les institutions transnationales et l'urbanisation, principalement en Afrique subsaharienne et aux États-Unis. Professeur McKinney a enseigné la sociologie, les études mondiales et les études sur les femmes à Worcester State University et à Clark University aux États-Unis. Elle a également été chef du département de la recherche et des politiques de l'Ugonzi Institute, où elle a également conçu un programme sur le leadership féminin. C'est dans ce rôle qu'en mai 2023, Ugonzi Institute a organisé une séance de recension du livre dans sa version anglaise lors du lancement de celui-ci. La professeure McKinney a animé cette séance au nom du directeur général de Ugonzi Institute, M. Kaderi Lincoln Singo, qui était en mission le jour de la séance de présentation du livre African Leaders Tete-à-Tête, Navigated Entity Design and Prioritization for Systemic Outcome.
Merci beaucoup, mesdames et messieurs, pour l'introduction. Thank you. Warm greetings from Dar es Salaam, Tanzania, to everybody joining from around the world. First and foremost, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to Dr. Lucy Newman for the honor of inviting me to be part of this auspicious virtual launch of the French version, African Leaders Tete-à-Tête, Navigating Entity Design and Prioritization for Systemic Outcomes. As my previous colleagues mentioned, if I say too much, then people won't buy because I'll have spilled all the beans. So I'll try to be brief. So my engagement with this remarkable book began in 2023 when Uongozi Institute organized book discussion on this particular book. And the deliberations that day were profoundly engaging, inspiring, and intellectually stimulating. So having engaged with this book previously, so I was trying to see like, okay, what can I say today in this group of very smart colleagues from both Anglophone and Francophone. And being almost the last to speak, everything you want to say has already been spoken. So I was scratching and I'm like, she just said, I'm like, you know what? Calm down, Fortunata, just say what you wanted to say. So that's what I'm gonna do. So the first thing that really resonated with me when I first saw the book, and I was like, okay, finally, book made for Africa by an African, right? So to me, that was really great. But on that point, the particular framework that has been mentioned on entity design for sustainable performance is quite fascinating to me. And so when we talk about the book, but for me, I don't see this as a book, but it's really a practical guide. It's really a blueprint for how African leaders and institutions can structure themselves from the ground up to achieve lasting success rather than just short-term gain. So this framework on ED4SP really resonated with me, and I found it very African, very relevant, and it really provide homegrown solutions. So that was really one of the first points that I found really fascinating with the book. But then my second area was like, and which I was like, why would you say that? It's the SWOT plus, right? So Dr. Newman kind of talk about, okay, so we are all familiar with SWOT, like every time we do the planning, we have to know. But she's really takes that SWOT with a twist. I say an innovative twist, right? The SWOT plus. So when you talk about the SWOT we are familiar, so this one she's talking about in the book is rather dynamic. I found it that like it just forces us leaders to look beyond just simple list of strengths and and weaknesses, but also go beyond and look at what are the interconnections, what are the systemic implications for our analysis? So I thought that was really, really important. But the final point I want to talk about that brings to my point and the rejoinder from other colleagues who talk about the importance of this book. When we read the book or when we do research as a researcher, because we're like, okay, so why there's this problem? Why there's that? But very specific, Dr. Lucy takes us to the next level. Then how can you address this? So I see like she takes the vision and really brings it to the ground. So the book really guides leaders on how to design their entities, right? Prioritize their action, navigate complex challenges, and to ensure that their work doesn't just solve problems, but it creates positive ripple effects. And I think to me that is very, very powerful. It's very important to bring this book to the French edition, because now our colleagues from Francophone will also gain tools and knowledge on how to really build a more and sustainable future. So the how part, it's not like, okay, so these are the theory, then the how part to me was very, very important from the book. So I firmly believe that the release of this edition, the French, really will add so much value. And it won't just benefit like French-speaking audiences across Francophone Africa, but also readers worldwide, because we have lots of French speakers around the world who really are looking for knowledge on leadership, not just effective leadership, but also institutional strengthening, but sustainable development. So once again, I really want to congratulate my sister, Dr. Lucy, for authoring the book, but also just come up with a very influential work, and but also the foresight for including the Francophone-speaking communities within Africa, because for us Anglophone, we were enjoying all this wonderful knowledge. So that's really the vision. I like that. But I'm really I'm so hopeful that this book really is going to drive sustainable growth for Africa. Thank you.
Sure.
Very French.
Je vais donner le résumé de ce que professeur Makane vient de nous dire. Elle nous a parlé que quand elle a vu le livre, elle a eu en fait un ouf de soulagement en se disant, finalement, un livre écrit par une Africaine pour les Africains. Elle a aussi beaucoup parlé du côté de guide pratique du livre. C'est comme ça que professeur Makane voit ce livre-là. Elle a beaucoup parlé du fait que Dr. Lucy a aussi non seulement parlé de SWOT, mais elle a mis l'accent sur le SWOT+. Quelles sont les connexions intrinsèques de notre environnement en tant que leader et comment est-ce que nous pouvons aller au-delà de la réflexion simple. Professeur Makane a aussi parlé du fait que Dr. Lucy a mis l'accent de comment créer les organisations, comment adresser les issues, mais aussi comment utiliser les outils pratiques qui sont dans le livre. Et pour finaliser, elle a aussi brossé le fait que le livre parle de leadership effectif, de développement soutenable, et elle n'a pas voulu rentrer dans plus de détails parce qu'elle s'est dit que tous ses antécédents, ses prédécesseurs ont déjà parlé du livre et qu'elle ne veut pas donner encore plus de détails pour que les gens puissent se procurer le livre, mais elle remercie vraiment Dr. Lucy pour l'œuvre magnifique qu'elle a écrite et du fait que c'est un livre que chacun de nous pourra avoir pour pouvoir être de meilleurs leaders. Over to you, Timmy.
Permit me to congratulate my sister, Dr. Lucy Newman, for producing one of the best management and economic tools for efficiency and effectiveness of any human system. The book is applicable to all areas of human endeavor and is highly adaptable to both public and private sector. The major highlights are the principles that can be applied for economic management both at meso level, micro level, and macro level. It can be applied by individuals, by industry, practitioners, by academia, and to envision principles and tools that are so easy to adopt. And I have gone through it and have used the principle in assisting some member states in our region to develop their anti-money laundering and combating the financing of terrorism strategy, and it is a living testimony. I wish to congratulate my dear sister Lucy, and I recommend this book to everyone. I have given a copy to my children who are into startup industry, and I'm sure everyone that goes through this book will have the benefit of using it. What is very important that it is a dynamic principle and it's living. Thank you very much, Dr. Lucy, for producing and finding time to give out this knowledge to Africa. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Lucy. Donc, je dis merci à tous. Merci à Merci, c'était vraiment magnifique parce que elle a fait le relais. Là où je pouvais lire, je ne pouvais pas lire, elle a fait. Mais c'est timide, c'était vraiment difficile pour moi aujourd'hui. Voilà l'un des problèmes en Afrique. On a tellement de richesses, on a la lumière, on a le matériel premier, mais on ne sait pas comment utiliser. Donc le livre, c'est vraiment important. Il faut que tout le monde cherche à lire ça, partager ça, parce que je pense qu'on peut faire mieux. Et merci beaucoup à Dr. Lucy et merci à tout le monde. Participer dans cette édition aujourd'hui.
Hello, my name is Dr. Grace Boala. I just wanted to acknowledge my aunt. I'm her niece, and I just wanted to say a huge congratulations, Auntie. We are just so proud of you from our family, and my late dad, who is her oldest brother, is now late. He would have been proud of you. So much love to you, and the sky is your limit. We continue to look up to you forever and ever, but just know that we are all with you today and always will be. Thank you.
Thank you, Grace. That's lovely. Grace is calling from Boston, USA. Thank you so much. My beautiful niece. God bless you. Thank you. My children are on this call. My husband is on this call, family and friends, and then also people from the church, people from APSS. Merci beaucoup à tous. Je t'aime.
Thank you. Love you too. On vous aime aussi.
Okay, je t'aime means I love you. I forgot.
And I just want to also emphasize something here. This is not about just the end of the year. Let's not forget that. We all have birthday coming in, and we know Nigerian, our brothers, when it's a wedding, you guys love to do big wedding, big gift. How about gifting new couples the gift of knowledge? So let's not just think like, let me get this before December and then I'm done. Let's get multiple copies. We do have the QR code here. This is the version, I believe, in French. And Timmy, could you please show us the English version?
Yes.
Here we go. And again, no excuse. At the end of this recording, we will have all of those information on Dr. Lucy's YouTube page. Am I correct, Dr. Lucy? And I believe we will be able to share all of these. Exactly. So it will be available on the YouTube channel, and let's make it a commitment also to blast it on all of our social media so that everyone can get the book, whether you are African or French speaking or even in the diaspora. Let's not forget, that's going to be my assignment for myself, for the diaspora community. We got to do better. We got to get the knowledge. We got to get on board for Africa. Yes, we are outside, but we are not forgotten. And this is the proof. We have the tools. Let's come together and get the work done. So again, don't forget to scan the QR code, and we will have all of those information available for you. Thank you so much again for staying until the end.
We would want to say a very big thank you again to everyone for joining us for the French edition launch of this amazing masterpiece, African Leaders Tête-à-Tête, Navigating Entity Designed and Prioritizing for Systemic Outcomes by Dr. Lucy Newman. Let's stay connected. Let's keep the conversations alive. I want to say again, very big thank you to everyone. Cool. Thank you again, everyone, for joining in. Let's keep the conversation ongoing. Let's connect via LinkedIn with Dr. Lucy. Feel free to scan the QR code. If you're not connected to Dr. Lucy on LinkedIn just yet, please scan the QR code on the screen and let's connect. Let's keep the conversation going. Let's ensure that indeed this book gets into the hands of everyone, every leader on the continent and even beyond the continent of Africa.
We have beautiful music. Let's dance out with this beautiful music. Thank you so much. Much love. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Rise up, sunrise on the motherland. Young hearts moving, power in their hands. Drums from Kigali waking up the sky. Lagos streets ready, future running high. Denim bronze shining, stories never fade. Tuko pamoja, moyo unaweza. Timbuktu lesson that our fathers made. Every boy's rising, calling out the dream. Africa rising, oh we rising. Feel the fire, spirit shining. Africa rising, oh we rising. Stronger now, future aligning. Oh, Africa rising, oh we rising. Hear the drums, heartbeat timing. Africa rising, Africa rising, Africa rising, oh we rising. Africa rising, Africa rising, oh we rising. Mombasa, wave singing through the night. Accra markets dancing in the light. En avance tous unis dans la foi. Nairobi children dreaming what's ahead. Wanda Hills giving hope instead. Oh, Africa, Aoni Baje. Zanzibar nights with the Swahili tone. Mandela's dream moving in the youth. Africa rising, oh we rising. Feel the fire, spirit shining. Africa rising, oh we rising. Stronger now, future aligning. Oh, Africa rising, oh we rising. Hear the drums, heartbeat timing. Africa rising, yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Au revoir. Merci beaucoup. Bonne nuit.
Bravo, bravo. Bonne nuit.
Thank you. Bonne nuit à tous. Merci.
Bon après-midi. It is 1 o'clock.
Happy Thanksgiving. Au revoir.
Allez. Bon après-midi.
Merci.
Bonne soirée. Bonne soirée à vous tous.
Bonsoir.
Africa,